want to do something outside our comfort zone, but there is one thing which always stops, that खुसबुस जो हमारे अंदर चलती रहती है. I can't do this. This is not for me. मैं ये नहीं कर सकता. And we all go through it. We all go through the negative emotions. We all go through depression. And most of us are stuck in there because we focus on the negative part. You can't distract me because you know what? I have something in me which cannot distract me, and that is my focus. Have you ever wondered in your life that someday आप बैठे हुए हो और आपको लग रहा है कि यार, why am I here on this earth? What's my purpose? Why God chose me? Have you ever wondered? Did you get any thoughts like that? Yes? Thank you so much. So before I move on, how many of you are having this feeling that what will a 16-year-old teach me? What will she, what will I get to learn from her? So here are the 3 things that I will be talking about today. First, mastering your mind. How many of you feel that in order to master your life, you need to master what? You need to master your mindset. Would you agree that? Just raise your hand. Awesome. Thank you so much. How many of you feel that in order to master your mind, first you need to master who you are? And who you are is what your story. Yes? How many of you believe that your story actually matters? If yes, then please raise your hand. Awesome. Thank you so much. And how many of you feel that in order to master your mind, your story, you need to master what limits you? Would you agree that society has a lot of limitations and you need to prove them that कोई चीज कब तक इम्पॉसिबल होती है जब तक कोई उसको करता नहीं है? Would you agree? लेकिन बस एक स्टेप एक पर्सन जो लेता है, अगर उसने कुछ इम्पॉसिबल प्रूव कर दिया कि वो पॉसिबल है, how many of you agree that you can also become that champion? Just raise your hand. Awesome, great. So before I move on, first of all, thank you so much for being here and being a part of my mission. And is it okay if I take 2 minutes to share about my story so that you can have that connection with me, and then I can move on explaining whatever I have stored? If yes, then just give me a thumbs up. Great. So my story started in COVID pandemic. How many of you feel COVID pandemic was a very hard time? For some of us, it was also good. So for me, it was a mix of both, a good and a bad time. During COVID pandemic, I lost someone I loved, not because of death, but because of some clashes in our own family. And due to that, it had such a severe impact on my life that I started to go into depression. At the age of 13, I was in severe depression. My parents never knew. Even though I knew that there are people who can help me, who can take me out of these challenges, but still I never had the courage to tell my own truth. You know what? When I was first interviewed by a person named Aman Khurana, I was basically into a state of anxiety that shall I share my true story or not? But then, as I moved on, the one thing that stuck within me was, after going through this 1 year of depression, I started to understand, Gargi, there is more to your life. There is more that you can do. If I am suffering at the age of 13, then there might be so many people who are suffering, at the age of your people, right? Would you agree? So here I started writing a book, The Lion-Hearted Soul, where I started to have, where I shared my one message, which was, your mess is your message. How many of you would agree? So that is how I started. Then I started to become, then I attended many international webinars in order to polish my skills. My parents were a great support system all this while. So I really want to thank my mother and father for always being there. And apart from that, from an author, then to an international speaker at the age of 14, then at the age of 15, I started my journey as a certified life coach, and today here I am. I have impacted over hundreds of lives, and here I am, starting my journey with Midas talks also. So coming back to the 3 secrets. First, master your mind. How many of you would agree you need to master your mind? And for that, can I tell you a very simple and a short story? How many of you like stories? Awesome. So here is the story of Buddha. By the way, I'm a big believer of Buddhism. So this story started when Buddha was actually, it said that there are 3 stages of meditation. First is when you are focused, when you are peaceful. Second is when everything opens up. And third is when you reach the stage of enlightenment. And Buddha, we all have some resistance within us. Would you agree that we want to do something outside our comfort zone, but there is one thing which always stops, that खुसफुस जो हमारे अंदर चलती रहती है. I can't do this. This is not for me. मैं ये नहीं कर सकता. Limitations are there and all of those things. So this story is of Buddha, who was actually sitting and trying to gain enlightenment. He was trying, he was going into the deep stage of meditation, and 3 times 3 resistances came in the form of first, her name was Mara. So first resistance which came was the khuspus. I can't go into meditation. I can't attain enlightenment. This is not for me. But Buddha remained calm. He didn't, focus on any of that khuspus, any of that little voice. Second time it came in the form of thunderstorm. And all the fears, all the doubts, all the resistances, it started coming in the form of thunderstorm. But Buddha said to Mara, you can't disturb me because I know how to master my mind. Third resistance which came in form of a pretty and a beautiful girl in front of Buddha who wanted to distract him. But Buddha said that try anything that you want. You can't distract me because you know what? I have something in me which cannot distract me, and that is my focus. How many of you would agree your focus needs to, it needs to be directed in the right direction? Would you all agree? If I tell you there is a wall, and you know what, in this wall there are 100 tiles, but 1 tile is missing. Where will your focus go? Will your focus go on the 99 tiles which are very beautiful, or will your focus go on that one missing tile? You tell me, 1 tile or 99 tiles? Right? This is called the missing tile syndrome, and we all go through it. We all go through the negative emotions, we all go through depression, and most of us are stuck in there because we focus on the negative part. We focus who left us, कौन छोड़ के चला गया, क्या मेरी लाइफ में इनकम्प्लीट रह गया. बट हम ये नहीं देखते कि अगर पास का कुछ रह गया तो मेरी लाइफ कितनी आगे है. सेम थिंग आई डिड इन माई लाइफ. यू नो व्हाट, people left me, my friends. I had many fights during COVID pandemic, honestly speaking. मेरे को अकेला फील होने लगा. I thought that there is no one to help me. And you know what, there was one day in my life when I was actually crying, looking at the window, that is there no one who can help me? Is there no one, God, who can really put me out of this depression? And at that point of time, I made a promise to myself that from today, no matter whatever happens, whether good or bad, I make a point to change my life. I make a point to take 100% responsibility of my life, no matter whether it is good, no matter whether it is bad. Second thing, mastering your story, which is very important. How many of you feel that your story matters? Just raise your hand. Yes. And how many of you feel that your story doesn't matter? Is there anybody? Okay, great. So your story matters. How to master your story is basically to understand who you are. What do you want to become? There are 3 stages: learning, doing, being. Learn as much as you can, be as much as you can, do as much as you can, but the last stage is the very important stage, which is being the person you want to become. I want to become a great international speaker. I want to create millions of success stories. I want to create millions of transformational stories, and I live in that state. I have not created many million stories, but I live in that state, in that mindset that you know what? I am already that person who I want to become. And from that stage when I operate in my life, I know I'm going the right path. How many of you would agree? The next thing in order to master your story is what? Take your pain as your best friend. Your pain is your best friend. You know why? If you reflect back on all your journey, now as all of us are starting or all of us are already in that coaching field, would you agree? These painful stories are actually the inspirational stories for someone who is going to listen, who is going to relate with you through this pain, and that is how that human connection will be made. How many of you would agree? Awesome. And third thing that you need to master is master your limits. How many of you feel you have limits? Just raise your hand. Yes? You know what? With me, what happened when I started on this journey, I took a lot of courage in order to make my first video. And my first video, the first comment, what was it? Criticism. I still remember those lines of that person that, you know what, who is going to listen to a little motivational speaker? You just go study, drink milk and sleep. These were the lines, and you know what? It didn't reduce my confidence, but actually it improved my confidence. Ki you think it is impossible, I am going to prove it to you that it is possible. Right? So whatever you feel is impossible in your life, just know that you can take the first step today. Either you can keep waiting for your one day, or you can make today as your day one. You are going to choose it, and at the end, what I live by in my life is every second matters. How you are going to perceive every painful side of yours, it does matter. Your story matters. You can be the voice for the voiceless. You can be the hope for the hopeless. You can be the light for the dark. You need to choose who do you want to be. Thank you so much.